Hello and welcome to yet another update video. Today I am going to be talking about a bunch of stuff, mostly talking about how things have gone. I'm just moving this cable, hopefully it doesn't make any noises. Mostly how October has gone and how things are looking for November. And October went really well. Really well. I was anticipating this year's Halloween being... I knew that I would finish it, but I kind of anticipated some of the games being less than incredible, but I'm pleased to discover that people were generally thrilled with the stuff, regardless of what I ended up covering, which was a massive relief, because previous years I feel like I've had more stuff to work with, or I've had better stuff to work with, and there have been a couple of concessions, especially with like Forbidden Siren and stuff like that, because I said it in the last update video that I just didn't really want to play that game, and ultimately I couldn't push myself to play it. It was so unfun to do, and it was a troll, and some games are a troll, but some games are worth it. Like, getting to the end of The Evil Within was definitely, I didn't like playing The Evil Within, and this is another topic that I'll be bringing up later. But I pushed myself to the end of it, and, the game was good. It really was. Like, the problem is that I just didn't like playing it, and the same for Forbidden Siren. But the problem is Forbidden Siren is just a lot harder to slap you on the hand if you make even the slightest mistake, and it is one of those ones where it's like, it feels like the various mechanics of the game will stop you from like doing specific things that you need to do, but at the same time the game won't tell you how to do anything. So there were a lot of problems there, and basically by the end of it I was like, I can tell that the atmosphere is good underneath this. I just don't like this game at all. And basically just stopped, because I was like, there's no point pushing myself any harder. Like, I've been trying to get through it for ages, and all I ever end up doing is like, playing it for like an hour or two, and then I'm like, I can't, sometimes I wouldn't even make progress in that. Like, normally I don't resort to guides and stuff like that, but I had to use a guide. I was like, there's no way that I can do this without a guide. But then I was like so reliant on the guide to try and figure out, because the environments are so confusing, and trying to figure out the very specific things that you would never once in a million years think to try and achieve. I was like, pausing the video, walking a few steps in the game, pausing the game, unpausing the video, watching the video, walk a few more steps in a direction, unpausing the video, and I was like, this is ridiculous. This is no way to play the game. And I was like, I can't even enjoy this, to any degree, so that was it. So that was obviously one of the bigger problems. The rest of it, though, was very good. I was so impressed with how things went, even when I had to make one of the last concessions that I had to make. One of the biggest mistakes, actually, before that, one of the biggest mistakes was I couldn't believe that I didn't realize that I had no video for the 12th. I had nothing. I had written a list out of all the dates and somehow missed 12 off of that number. And I was looking at the list on the 12th at like, I don't know, midday, going through like, right, so what am I posting at 6 p.m. tonight? And then I looked at it and I was staring in disbelief as I watched the number 11 go straight to 13. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got nothing. I have nothing ready. But literally earlier, like a few hours before that, I just finished doing the review for Interior Worlds, which I realized is like, no one was really interested in that one. I think that's the only one that no one was particularly interested in. But if I had known that I had nothing, then I would have done like mouthwashing or something, because I did that earlier in the thing, but I had no time in 6 hours to completely write a review, write a decent review, edit the video, upload it and post it within, 6 hours. There was no way. Like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it justice in that time, because it's such a good game. But I was like, but I have Interior Worlds, and I posted that, and I was like, well, that's just going to have to do, I'm afraid. And it got missed off at a bunch of other lists as well, because I copied, because of the Patreon list is where I was referring to for most of like the other lists that I use to judge things and sort things out by. Because it wasn't on that one, Interior Worlds didn't get mentioned at all whatsoever in the Halloween video, the final Halloween video, which it probably should have got mentioned at least for Atmosphere, but I forgot about that as well. And I was like, damn it, I've really done this game injustice accidentally. But that was kind of that for that. The other one that I had to make was I was really planning on doing Code Veronica, but I was having such a I'd messed up pretty badly in the game. I was pushing myself really hard to try and get through an area, and instead of doing the smart thing, which would be just reload an earlier save and try again, I was like, no, I can do this. And I was crawling through areas on like the last, inch of health, and I was getting tapped by everything and just killed. And I'm like, this is going to take forever. And I literally played the majority of Resident Evil Revelations in like one day, as opposed to like the several hours that I'd spent in Code Veronica pushing myself through the same corridors trying to get to the end of them without getting hit. And it wasn't working, so I decided to switch over to Revelations, which I'm glad that I did in a way. Revelations is an interesting game in a different way, but Code Veronica, I think, would have gone down better. So there was that. But otherwise, October went really well. Like, there were games that I was not expecting to go to get as many views as they did. Like Lunacid, I was not expecting to get as many views, but they also started doing their Halloween update at the same time, which was really lucky. So that was great. I was really pleased with how all of October went. So that's that. To talk about what I'm doing throughout November is not much. I'm going to be playing through a lot of the games that I need to do for the Buying Guide 2, and my friend Ruby has been going through it as well, doing like she's done the convenience store. She did some of the Eternal Darkness footage for I think she did it for the 25 best thing, because it was just like, it's a long game and I didn't have time to sit back and play it again. Obviously, like the whole purpose of Ruby doing them is that I've already covered this game, so like my opinion is already out there. I don't like she's only going to be recording like backup footage, and stuff that I don't have anymore, because around, I think it was 2021, we had a massive hard drive failure and I lost literally all of the game footage that I had up until then, which was a fair amount, but what can you do? Stuff like this happens. I've got like a better setup now that will hopefully last longer, and but obviously all those games that I'd covered before that, which was quite a few really good games, I don't have anymore, and Ruby's just recapturing some of them. I'm doing it too because I have to. There's no way I could, like, it's a joint effort. In fact, I'm probably doing more. But the thing is, it's just one of those things. Like, I need someone to help me do it, because there's no way I'll be able to just play through all these games on my own. And also, like, I'm doing like literally like 2 Halloweens worth of random recording. But I've been doing it like very slowly since I think ever since the last one, I started getting plans ready for the next one, because I asked if people wanted to follow up, and a lot of people wanted to follow up, so I'm already working on that. So I think I'm doing like, I was doing Clive Barker's Undying, Deadly Premonition. There's quite a few, I can't remember. Deadly Premonition is the one that I'm going to be starting today, which is, I'm really looking forward to playing that, actually. It's been a while. There's a lot that I want to reference as well, like, but the thing is, it's like, having the footage to reference it from is, the whole point. So like in some of the analysis videos and stuff, if I'm saying, oh, but this game did this, I'll think that and write that, but then I'll be like, oh, I don't have the footage for that, so I can't really mention it. Like, I had to skirt around all through the Cosmic Horror series, I had to skirt around the fact that I didn't have Eternal Darkness recorded. So I mentioned Eternal Darkness, but never actually showed it because I didn't have time to play through the game to get it. Luckily, Ruby's played through majority of the game, so that's, I can now reference that in places, which is great. So there's that. That's the Buying Guide 2, or the Beginner's Guide 2 is what I'm probably going to be calling it, or the Intermediate Guide, or something along those lines. I wanted to get, I want to also include a lot of the games that I included in this year's Halloween, because obviously 30 more games to, talk about in terms of, stuff to recommend after the stuff that I've already recommended is, it's great. The more the merrier, really. I'm not going to go so hard with physical prices this time, because, again, that was just a real troll to try and do. The good thing is that, throughout various things, I don't have as many physical games to talk about, and don't have as many physical games covered to show and present versions of to say, you know, oh, well, you know, here's the physical version of this, here's the physical version of that. The Xbox 360 store is gone now, which is sad, for real. But that's another one that I don't have to price check, which is, part of me is relieved, but like, I will miss the 360 store. So that's the beginner's guide too. I'm also one of the ones that I am working on also very slowly, and how, like, I don't know when I'm going to finish that, is I decided what I was going to do was I was going to change up the 7 free horror game videos, because they were good, but 7's a bit small, and I reckon I could make something bigger if I just take longer to do it. And the next one is I was going to do either 50 or 100 free horror games. Now, I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but most of these are around 10 minutes long. And, you know, over the course of like several months, I can just, you know, play through these games, do a little write-up of them, add them to a list, and then make a big video at the end of it and say, look, you know, wow, 100 free horror games. And I think that would be really cool. Plus, everyone seems to... I've noticed loads of... YouTube prefers to show people longer videos, like, you know, the beginner's guide and the 6-hour video, and the top 25 was like 40 minutes and people like that as well. But that was probably just good because it was a top 25. So yeah, that's in there as those. That'll be good as well. I'm also one that I'm working on right now that's uploading right now is basically all of Halloween 2024 in one video, because that's 5 hours long, and which we didn't think it was going to be that long, but it is. And that's literally uploading now, so that will be ready to go, I think, later in the day, but like, obviously it depends when this video goes up, because your computer's busy. But that's that. Another thing that I'm working on is another one that yeah, the critical versus personal opinion video, where I was going to talk about lots of different things, including The Evil Within, which is where, coming back to what I mentioned earlier, and the Silent Hill 2 remake, because a lot of people, I was expecting more negative backlash over some of the things that I said in the Silent Hill 2 remake, but I didn't enjoy the game, and I made that quite clear at the end of the video that I didn't really enjoy the game, and loads of people did, and that's great. Like, I'm glad that it's doing as well as it did, because honestly, like, it's been so long since they've had a really, you know, a pretty good Silent Hill game. But in my opinion, the Silent Hill 2 remake is just it's not the Silent Hill game that I wanted, and it's not the Silent Hill 2 that I like, you know? It is not the same thing. It is it feels more like a Resident Evil game with, you know, Silent Hill 2 references in it than a proper remake of Silent Hill 2. But again, that's a video, that's you know, something that I want to write down to get my thoughts out there better, because it is rather hard to try and explain lots of things from your personal opinion on stuff, and trying to word it in a way that isn't going to upset people, because a lot of people don't really like listen to the videos very well. I've noticed there was a comment on one the other day for the horror game graphics one, where I was talking about how art style wins overall and how certain things are better based on the aesthetics alone, which was like the purpose of the video. And someone went, "Oh no, change," and then did a scared face, and I was like, really? Like, they must have, like, I don't know what part of it they took away. They obviously watched some of it, but like they got to the Silent Hill part, which is literally right at the start, and went, God, some people just can't stand new technology. As if I'm not constantly playing new games, you know. But that was something. So yeah, it's a case of wording it in a way that makes people appreciate where I'm coming from, and it's hard to just sort of voice some of these opinions without people kind of getting the wrong end of the stick, and especially with something that is so overwhelmingly popular at the moment, that I feel that if you voice a negative opinion about something, it'll get lost in between people who probably don't have what I think are legitimate reasons to be mad about it. There was someone in the comments again for the Silent Hill 2 remake who said about how lots of people are being blinded by nostalgia, and lots of people are being unnecessarily hard on it. But like the thing is, like I don't think from my personal opinion, I was probably being like unnecessarily hard on it, but I didn't really share my personal opinion. Like my personal opinion on it was really reductive at the time, that sort of didn't help my experience with the game. But I don't think that the problems I had with the game were like, you know, invalidated by those. I think I have legitimate problems for me to have with the game, but I don't think the problems that I have with the game are the problems that everyone has with the game, because otherwise everyone would be experiencing it. And the critical versus personal opinion thing is about looking at a certain aspect of a game that I don't particularly like and being like, is this a legitimate problem with the game, or is this a personal problem with the game? So like, say so one of the most subjective things that I can say about the Silent Hill 2 remake was so they did a new version of Theme of Laura and I don't like it. And it's very, very similar to the original Theme of Laura, but it doesn't have that hard edge, and it uses like electroacoustic guitars, and it really just sounds like dad rock, sort of, to be kind of insulting to it. It doesn't have that kind of hard edge the original has, and I just don't like it. But the thing is, that's a very, very personal, you know, subjective take on that, and everyone else will be like, oh look, Theme of Laura. Like, no one else is going to be as upset by that as I could possibly be because of my personal taste on it. But I can't punish the game for something like that, because that's just not fair. Like, for me to just like to just point at something and go, I just don't like that, and then like give it as a mark against the game is not particularly fair for the game. Like, so I try to never do that if I possibly can. I just want to say that this is very clearly cut, because I spent the next 15 minutes talking about literally everything that I was going to talk about, probably in the video for the Silent Hill 2 remake, and I don't want to spend the entire update video giving you like a much longer winded and less coherent version of something that I'm going to be doing anyway. So yeah, that's another video that's in the pipeline. There's a couple that have been suggested to me to do that I'm kind of interested to follow. And there's obviously, I don't know if I'm going to continue with the survival horror series for the enemy design thing, because I think I covered stuff like that in the last one, to be fair. So I was kind of wondering what else I could talk about in terms of survival horror that I think is prevalent. Because the real problem that I'm having with that specific series there's just loads of aspects of survival horror, and there's no specific thing either. Like, trying to narrow it down to its most basic elements and talk about them is quite hard. It doesn't, you know... I feel like I've already covered the things that are, like, generally in most of the games, which is, like, resource management and, you know, inventory and all that, and then vulnerability. But, like, the rest of it doesn't matter. There's no one defining setting. There's no one defining type of enemy. There's no one defining, you know, style of gameplay. Like, there's loads of different things, and it's kind of hard to, you know, pinpoint another specific point of survival horror and go, this is something that, you know, unifies a lot of different points and is something that we can talk about. So that's, you know, that's one of those that I'll have to put a lot of thought into. Other than that, I haven't really had a lot of ideas about videos to make, but it has been a rather busy time during October, which was just get reviews done. Another one, actually, so like most of the ones that I have to talk about in terms of reviews are upcoming ones are, of course, Mouse Washing, which will be in December, but sometime during November, I've got two that were sent to me by the developers, and one of them is a remake of a game that I covered, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, which was a point-and-click browser game called Daemonology. I think it was a browser game, I'm not sure. And I thought it was really good. And the guy who made the game left a comment on the video and said that he really liked it. And I was like, oh, nice. And I wasn't expecting to hear anything else of that ever. And I got an email last month saying that the guy who had made the game had made an updated version of it and would wonder if I would like to play it. And I said yes, because I really enjoyed Daemonology. And they said they were a fan of the channel, which I was like, I'm always humbled when people say that to me. It's like, yeah, but you make games. Like, I just make, videos on the internet. That's not really the same thing. And they have made a version of it that is better, and I'm very impressed with it. I'm obviously impressed by a lot of the new stuff that they've done, but I'm also impressed with a lot of the stuff that stayed the same, because I feel that, like, especially in relation to, like, the Silent Hill 2 remake and stuff like that, is I think sometimes if it's not broken, don't fix it, sort of thing, where, like, some things that, or if it was already good in the original, there's not necessarily a need to replace that kind of thing in the remake, which is why I was pleased for, like, a lot of Daemology to basically be the same game, but with, like, more in it, which was exactly kind of the thing that I wanted. My biggest complaints were that there needed to be more varieties of torture, and that was basically it. But they went above and beyond and added more torture, dialogue options. They added more really, really good cutscenes and a soundtrack that I'm looking forward to trying to get hold of, because the soundtrack's really good. And that was kind of the things that I liked the most about the Silent Hill 2 remake were, in fact, some of the things that didn't change. And yeah, anyway, not going into that, not going into that again. The other one is a game called Spellborn Dark, which was sent to me by another developer, and I have quite a few developer games to cover at the moment, because I really just got, like, about 6 or so of them during October, considering that I'm like a very small channel and I don't get that much attention for there's not going to be, like, millions of people tuning in to watch me play a new game. So, like, I got more than I was anticipating, and I think I got more this month than I had than, like, last year in general. So Spellborn Dark is basically, to be a bit reductive to it, it's basically just Darkwood in a sort of big sort of facility thing, and it plays like Darkwood and it feels like Darkwood, but I wouldn't say that it has that kind of impact that Darkwood has, because I think Darkwood's storytelling and atmosphere is better, but Spellborn Dark's pretty good on its own. So that's another video that's coming in the month. I was more impressed with that one than I was of the other game that I got at the same time, which was Chorus of Carcosa, which I already talked about. There's already a video up on that one. And of course, Daemology is probably going to get high praise, because it's basically a game I already liked but better. So those two are looking good. Yeah, there's Mouthwashing again, and there's several written reviews that I'm trying to get done during I want to get done during this month. There's a lot of, like, administrative stuff that I want to get done. There's some things that I wanted to change. I've got to update the Steam curators page with all of the stuff that I covered during October, and there's a bunch of, like, little things to do on the channel, like changing up some of the tags and stuff like that, and little things that I've been not really putting off but just not engaging with. There's a lot of cleaning up to do on the computer, because there's loads of games that I've started recording but haven't done with, which is, like, I'm already starting looking towards next year's Halloween, which is, unsurprising, because literally it's like a year-long thing. It takes me so long to get through these games to do them that, starting as early as possible is good. But I'm already looking towards trying to, delete some of the footage that I have for these games and start them fresh, and then play them through to the end this time, hopefully. So, but that's being done, that's not a big priority, it's just a thing that I'm doing. I also fixed I said on Patreon that I was having problems with, like, game capture and stuff on the, the main computer, but I've fixed that too. Somehow a weird problem occurred, I think, in a recent OBS update that basically made majority of my recordings for the Silent Hill 2 remake and some of the stuff for Resident Evil Revelations unusable in their normal form, which then made me take, luckily I figured out what the problem was during Revelations, so I could fix that. But for literally, I think after the first 2 or 3 hours of Silent Hill 2 remake, every piece of footage after that had problems, and I had to run them through Handbrake, which took 22 hours before I could, you know, get back and start editing them. So that was pretty brutal because I couldn't use the computer for anything while it was doing that because it uses 100% of the processing power to, you know, go through Handbrake. So that was rough, but you know, the footage is good now, it's usable, so that's massively relieving. But I'm looking forward to having basically the freedom to choose more stuff at the moment, because one of the biggest problems that Halloween does kind of inflict on me is that, like, as time goes on, I'm restricted more and more by, like, what I can get done. So, like, again, like I said earlier, like, cutting out stuff like Resident Evil Code Veronica in favor of doing Revelations because I thought I could get through it faster, which I did. Just, you know, it's limiting the kind of things that I can cover and talk about. And since it's so early in the year, I wanted to get some of the longer games done sooner so that I can, like, you know, I can finally talk about, like, Pathologic, and I can talk about some of the other Amori and stuff like that are, like, you know, really long games that I can't afford to, like, you know, start working on in, you know, July. So I'm glad that I've now got the time to be able to choose the longer games to play them, because the only way I got through, like, you know, Alan Wake 2 and stuff like that, which is like 25, 26 hours, and some of the other long ones that I ended up covering this year, was because I started them so early. So I'm looking forward to setting up to start doing these things, and I think I've got, like, a really good setup now to be able to cover a better variety of age of games, because I've got my older capture card is in a different computer. There's a point where I'm also going to do, like, an update on the not the process, but like the setup and everything, because the setup's getting pretty crazy at the moment. But it works, and, like, there's a lot of stuff that I can now cover that I couldn't before because of hardware restraints, but also, like, my understanding of things was limited in some of the recording stuff as well. But yeah, that's how it's all looking. That's 20 coming up to 27 minutes, so that's about the average length of an update video. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff coming. Most of it will be coming in December. A lot of smaller things will be turning up soon, but I am largely going to be spending time doing as little as possible, really, just to give myself a bit of a break. Literally the first day after Halloween, I spent it reading a book. And that's all I did. And I was really pleased because, you know, I have loads of things outside of YouTube work that have been waiting for me to do for ages. Like, the book was a birthday gift I got 4 years ago, and it took me 2 days to read it, but it took me 4 years to start it. So, you know, there you go. That really says it all. So, but there you go. Once again, that's an update video. Thank you, everyone, for tireless support and watching of the videos, which is, again, really humbling, as I said at the end of the Halloween video. And I will see you all next time, and very soon, hopefully, in either Daemonology or Spellborn Dark. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.